Today I wanted to go over something I have covered before, which is activating your deep core or your transverse abdominis. The reason I wanted to do this again is because most of my videos I just do written instructions, but not all of us learn that way. Some of us like to actually hear the instructions to help us learn, so I wanted to do that for those who are a little bit more auditory with their learning. So your transverse abdominis is one of your core muscles. It's a really big one, and it's your deepest layer, so it wraps around, it's all around the front, wraps around the back, comes up to about your lower 6 ribs and touches on around to your hip bones as well. So it's a really big muscle, and it's really important that we know how to activate this so that we can brace our cores, and that helps us support our spine. Okay, so to do this, you're going to be laying on your back. If you do have something to put your feet up on, if you had a chair there, that is another way to help you get better activation for it, because it can be a little bit trickier in this position, and it's going to be the easiest to get it activating if you have your feet up and resting on something. Okay, but I'm just going to go from here today. So we want to feel with our hands that we're actually activating this muscle as well. So what you're going to do is you're going to find your hip bones. You're going to go a couple inches inside from those hip bones, and now you're going to be over that muscle. So when you contract it, you're going to be able to feel the tissues underneath your fingers contract. Okay, so we're going to think about pulling our belly button in towards our spine and flattening the back down against the ground. Okay, so we're just going to do that. Okay, so you should feel tension come up underneath your fingers here as the muscle activates, and we want to be able to hold this muscle while we do something like breathe. Okay, so that's the first step, is actually just being able to breathe while we're contracting it. So right now I can still feel that mine is activating while I'm talking here. I've done a lot of work with this muscle. Okay, but step one is just breathing. So get that contraction and just take some normal breaths. Okay, so what you're feeling for is not only that the muscle's contracted, but that it's not changing how much it's contracted while you're breathing. So it should stay the same amount of tone the entire time. It shouldn't be softening as you breathe out or as you breathe in. It should be staying the same the entire time. So you can just start with trying to do 10 breaths, and if that's easy and you can feel that, then we would advance the exercise. So we would add movement in while you're contracting so that it becomes more challenging and we can strengthen the muscle up. However, if you're having difficulty being able to keep the same amount of contraction while you're breathing, then this is where we're going to start. Okay, so you're just, again, getting that contraction. If you can only do one breath while keeping that nice strong contraction, that's fine. Relax it again and contract it again. Do another breath. You need to let it go again and find that contraction again. That's totally fine. You're just going to keep going. And only if you can't do 10 breaths without it getting, really sloppy and you're not getting any contraction at all, just leave it. Come back to it tomorrow. We don't want to be reinforcing any bad habits here. Okay. Same cues don't work for everyone, so there are different things you can think about while you are doing this exercise. Okay, so the first one I said was thinking about sucking your belly button in towards your spine and flattening your back against the ground. Okay. Other cues you can think about is an arrow coming to hit you in the belly button, so you want to brace like you would if that was going to hit. Okay. You can also think about trying to pull your hip bones together, because the muscle runs between them. So if we think about pulling them together, we can get that contraction there as well. We do want to also think about activating our pelvic floor with this, because these muscles work together. So while we're getting that contraction through the transverse abdominis, another cue you can think about is holding your pee or walking into cold water. Okay, so that's going to help us activate our pelvic floor as well as our transverse abdominis here. Okay, and so our goal with this is to get these muscles nice and strong because we want to be able to brace when we're doing anything. You know, whether it is weightlifting or picking up your kid, whatever it is you need to be doing. We want to start by building a habit of getting this muscle to activate with our breath, because then it's naturally going to happen while we're going to do these exercises, and it just becomes a lot more habitual, so then you don't have to constantly be thinking about it, because it'll become a habit, and then when you're doing your lifts or whatever it is you're doing that we need to be bracing with, you're going to be thinking about other things you might need to be working on with that exercise rather than just contracting your core.